Welcome at A Boring History for Sleep. Like, comments, and subscribe.
Close your eyes. Imagine, if you will, the gentle movement of water against ancient stone. We are traveling back, far back, to a peninsula where two continents meet. The air is cool, the sounds of the modern world fade away, and we are left only with the rhythmic pulse of history. Welcome to the city that has carried many names: Byzantium, Constantinople, Istanbul. It is a place built on seven hills, much like Rome, sitting at the edge of the world, watching the sun rise over Asia and set over Europe. The story begins in the silence of the 7th century BCE. Greek settlers from Megara arrived here, looking for a place to build a new life. They consulted the oracle at Delphi, who told them to build, opposite the city of the blind. They looked across the water and saw the settlement of Chalcedon, modern-day Katakoi. The settlers thought the people there must have been blind to miss the strategic genius of this golden horn, this perfect, deep-water harbor. And so, Byzantium was born. It was a quiet, modest fishing town for centuries, existing in the shadows of larger empires, content to simply be. But geography has a way of shaping destiny. This city sat on the crossroads of the world. Trade routes moved through its waters like blood through a vein. It was inevitable that someone would notice its value. Fast forward to the year 324 CE. The Roman Emperor Constantine the Great, a man who saw the potential for a new beginning, looked at this site. He saw the shimmering golden horn and decided that the old Roman Empire needed a new heart. He tore down the walls of the small town and began to build something monumental. He called it New Rome, though history would eventually call it Constantinople. Imagine the construction. The sound of chisels hitting marble, the smell of dust and mortar, the slow rising of massive stone walls that would eventually become the strongest in the world. Constantine brought architects, artists, and leaders. He filled the city with columns, statues, and forums. He turned a provincial port into the capital of the world. And as he built, the city grew quiet, wrapped in the protective embrace of its massive, triple-layered Theodosian walls. These walls were the heartbeat of the city. For 1,000 years, they stood as an impenetrable shield. Behind them, life carried on with a slow, predictable rhythm. The scholars studied in the libraries, the merchants traded silks and spices, and the citizens walked the streets, listening to the tolling of church bells. It was a golden age of stability. The city was a sanctuary of knowledge, preserving the texts of the ancient world when the rest of Europe was falling into shadow. Think of the Hagia Sophia, rising in the center of the city. Built in the 6th century, its massive dome seemed to float on a circle of light. It was a feat of engineering so advanced that, for centuries, people believed it was held up by nothing more than divine intervention. The cycle of history is rarely still for long. Even the strongest walls have stories to tell. As the centuries drifted by, the city began to feel the weight of time. The power that once held the Mediterranean in a tight grip began to shift. In the year 1453, the rhythm changed. The air grew heavy with anticipation. A young sultan, Mehmed II looked at the city of Constantinople. He did not see a falling empire. He saw the jewel of the world, a city that was meant to be the center of his own expanding horizons. The siege was long, but it was not chaotic. It was a series of slow, tactical movements. When the city finally transitioned from the capital of the Byzantine Empire to the heart of the Ottoman Empire, it did not crumble. It transformed. The transition was like a river changing its course. The Hagia Sophia, once a church, became a mosque. The call to prayer began to echo over the Bosphorus, mingling with the sound of the wind and the gulls. The city did not lose its identity, it layered it. It took the Roman foundation and wrapped it in the intricate, flowing calligraphy and tiles of the Ottoman world. Istanbul became a city of refinement. Imagine the tulip gardens that bloomed during the tulip period, a time of peace and artistic obsession. The sultans built grand palaces, like Topkapi, where life moved behind high walls and garden gates. It was a world of courtiers, of coffee houses where men sat for hours, whispering of trade and philosophy, and of the Grand Bazaar, a labyrinth of quiet activity where the rustle of silk and the scent of roasted coffee beans filled the air. This is the beauty of Istanbul. It is a city of layers. If you were to dig into the ground, you would find the remnants of the Byzantines, and beneath them, the Greeks. Above them, the Ottomans. And above all of that, the modern pulse of a bustling, vibrant society. But even today, amidst the noise of ferries and traffic, if you go to a quiet corner, near the water's edge, you can still feel the stillness of the past. The Bosphorus acts as a natural lullaby. It connects the Black Sea to the Marmara, a constant flow of water that has remained unchanged for millions of years. It doesn't care about kings or sultans. It simply flows. The ferries move back and forth, carrying people between Europe and Asia, a journey of only a few minutes, yet a journey across the history of civilizations. As the sun sets over the minarets, casting long, soft shadows across the Golden Horn, the city seems to sigh. The lights begin to twinkle, reflecting off the dark water like fallen stars. You are here, in this place of transition, where everything is connected, where the end of one era is simply the quiet beginning of another. There is nothing to fear here. There is only the long, slow, comforting weight of time. The stones have seen it all, and they have survived it all. Now, as the city settles into the dark, you can let your mind drift, carried by the currents of the Bosphorus, resting in the history of a city that never truly sleeps, but always knows how to find peace.
Disclaimer: while the historical accounts detailed here are grounded in rigorous research, we have integrated AI generated imagery to provide a vivid window into the past. Please note that these visuals are intended as creative interpretation rather than precise historical documentation. Our primary objective is to offer an engaging, immersive educational journey through history.